and fellow mortgage brokers. It's truly a privilege to be able to stand up here today and share my thoughts on an industry that I love. As I look around the room, it's great to see so many of my fellow members and so many people that I respect greatly from the industry. I thought that I would start today by sharing the main reason why I became a mortgage broker. As a wide-eyed law and commerce graduate, I knew I wanted to make a difference in the world. Early in my career, my path led me to the world of banking, where I had the opportunity to work for two of the large banks in their commercial lending divisions as a senior relationship manager. I loved many aspects of my role in working for the respective banks, but there was one thing that I constantly struggled with. You see, my favourite part of the job was having the opportunity to build deep and meaningful relationships with my clients. I knew their hopes and dreams, I knew their goals, I knew their financial position intimately, and largely I had the power to help bring their dreams to reality by helping them to access the funds that they needed to make it happen. However, over and over again, I was reminded that whilst customer service and customer outcomes was important, my first priority as an employee of the bank was to the bank and its shareholders. Customers came second. I saw how profit came before customer outcomes and how banks would charge loyal clients more because they knew they could. I saw how banks treat clients when they have a tough year in their business and fail to meet their budget projections. And I saw how banks treat clients when things in the economy are tough, like going through the GFC. I found this extremely difficult as I was deeply invested in helping my clients, and in pursuit of doing so, I was constantly disappointed by my superiors and the decisions that were made, which were clearly more in favour of the shareholder than the customer. Eventually, I realised that this was never going to change. Please don't get me wrong, I deeply respect our big banks and the work they do. They're vitally important for our economy and our industry. However, the reality is they are big businesses that need to keep their shareholders happy. So inevitably, shareholders will and must always come first before customers for the big banks. So I made the very scary decision to leave my comfortable six-figure regular and consistent salary to become a mortgage broker, where I could purely focus on helping my clients and put them first. I was really nervous about becoming a mortgage broker, but my nerves went away quickly once I started to meet and build relationships with other mortgage brokers. You see, I quickly realised that the majority of mortgage brokers were people like me, who truly loved helping other people, loved building relationships and cared deeply about their clients' goals and dreams. So I quickly felt confident and comfortable that I was in the right industry. You see, as mortgage brokers, great customer outcomes and great customer experiences are not just something we aim for. Instead, our very survival as mortgage brokers and small business owners depends on it. We don't have the marketing budgets or the market share to survive. Our survival depends on our clients becoming raving fans and telling their family and friends to use our services. This is why I have no doubt that clients largely have a far better experience dealing with a mortgage broker than directly with the bank. And often the work we do is largely unpaid, but rather for the love of it. You see, we take the long-term relationship approach rather than focus on short-term transactions. As a result, we do what is right for the client rather than what will earn us a quick commission. For example, one of our clients recently went through a divorce and wanted to keep her home for the stability of her children. This client's bank said no. Her only option was to sell her house and rent. So she was referred to us as a last resort by her divorce lawyer to see if we could help. We worked with this client unpaid for 18 months, as we were not going to give up on her. In the end, the best outcome for her was going to be to stay with her existing bank. She had paid a lot of LMI, she was in mortgage insurance territory, and she was in a fixed loan. The best option for her was to complete the transfer of ownership with the same bank. That same bank that said no to the client 18 months before eventually said yes to the client after the work that we'd done with them for those 18-month period. This client was not in a position to pay us. And as we kept the loan with the same bank, our broker received no upfront commission. Apart from the small amount of trail commission the broker started to receive, the work and hundreds of hours our broker put into helping this client was a labour of love. If it were not for trail commission, this broker would not have been paid anything for assisting this client, because this client was not in a financial position to pay the broker and did not have the equity to capitalise the fee onto the loan. This client would have been left with no choice but to sell the house and rent. And there are so many other examples. And unfortunately, this is not an isolated example. We see people like this every single day in our work. And I really encourage the members of government here today to speak to the mortgage brokers in the room, and they will all have hundreds of examples like this to share. Because the people that need our help most are the people who can't afford to pay. This is why so many mortgage brokers also volunteer in our community to give back. For example, through our business, we run a volunteer program called Rise High Rookies, where we go into primary schools and high schools throughout South Australia and give students financial literacy and entrepreneurship education that will help them as they get older. We've also recently started running a free program for single women, especially targeted at those women who have come out of abusive relationships or have lost their partners and are struggling to find their way. We help these women gain knowledge, skills and confidence to enable them to start again and build their life all over again, giving them financial stability for themselves and their children. Ultimately, as mortgage brokers, we help the people who need it most. Not for the money, but because it's the right thing to do. And our survival as small business owners depends on our reputation for doing the right thing by clients. Whilst the great majority of mortgage brokers do what we do because we love helping people, of course we need to earn a living. And we need to have the financial resources to pay our staff and keep our businesses open. That is why it's crucial that we have a fair remuneration model that rewards us for long-term relationships rather than transactions. The announcement made by the Treasurer that the government will ban trail commissions will lead to a remuneration model that only pays brokers if they bring a new loan to a new bank. And that will be disastrous for our industry. Ultimately, the consumers and all Australian mortgage holders will be the losers as competition drops and the big banks increase power. We need a remuneration model that rewards brokers for doing the right thing by clients, which in many instances may mean keeping them with their existing lender but getting them a better deal or a better loan structure. We need a remuneration model that rewards brokers for keeping clients long term and gives us the financial resources to be able to provide our clients with excellent post-settlement service for the entire 30-year term of the loan. For example, in our business, we reinvest the trail commission we receive into having dedicated staff in our team who purely focus on providing service and support to our existing client base. This includes annual reviews, repricing their loans, switching their repayment accounts, a whole heap of things. This service allows us to proactively get our clients better discounts as time goes on and ensure that their lending facilities are reviewed regularly and that they're always competitively priced and right for them. The clients who would not be able to afford to pay for this service are the clients who need it most. Losing trail income will make it difficult for us to provide this ongoing service to clients, which would ultimately make the big banks the winners, as they could get away with charging clients higher interest rates for longer. Whilst the current remuneration structure may not be perfect, I believe it will be difficult to find a remuneration structure that is fairer than the one we currently have. The current remuneration model makes it an even playing field between banks and brokers, allowing all Australians the ability to choose which channel will support them the best without having to pay more for choosing a mortgage broker. This is absolutely essential to ensure that people who need our services most are not disadvantaged due to cost barriers. Haynes' proposal of a consumer pays model will lead to an environment where it is cheaper for clients to go directly to the bank than use a broker. And this will inevitably mean that over time, we will have less loans originated through the broker channel and a reduced distribution channel for lenders without a branch network. The idea that banks will also charge a fee to even the playing field with brokers, in my opinion, is also a flawed concept, as the big banks would surely have the power to change the fee, reduce it, or offer a rebate to the clients. which would be difficult for the government to police and would ultimately make it more expensive for clients to deal with brokers. This ultimately means less competition, and the end result will be higher interest rates for all Australians as the power of the big bank increases. The current remuneration structure, including trail, rewards brokers for keeping their clients happy in the long term, and clawback ensures that brokers are not chasing a quick buck. As we don't get paid for equity releases and there are discounted interest rates on offer for principal and interest repayments, as mortgage brokers, we're advising our clients to only borrow what they need to borrow and helping them to come up with strategies to reduce their debt as quickly as they're able to do so. Ultimately, clients are the winners as a result of the current remuneration model. And that is why they're voting with their feet, with each year more and more Australians choosing mortgage brokers. If Haynes' consumer pays model is implemented, the Australians who need us most will no longer be able to access our services. For example, first home buyers who need every dollar they have to get into their first property at the highest loan to value ratio. These first home buyers don't have the capacity to pay us, and they wouldn't be able to capitalise the fee onto the loan, as the large majority are already borrowing at the maximum loan to value ratio and paying ridiculous lenders' mortgage insurance premiums already. Another example is Australians going through difficult times in their life, for an example, a divorce or a death of a spouse. When going through a divorce, many struggle to keep their family home and get their financial life back on track, let alone pay us a fee. We have the ability to help these clients, but it's time consuming and generally takes several months of assistance, if not years. The majority of Australians going through this do not have the financial resources to pay us a fee, and similarly to first home buyers, they often don't have surplus equity to be able to capitalise a fee onto the loan, as all the equity generally gets absorbed in the divorce. And then there are the many Australians that are struggling to keep up with the credit cards and short-term personal loans that the big banks have so carelessly offered them. We help these clients get on top of their financial life, get rid of these expensive debts so they can move forward and have a better life. These Australians cannot afford to pay us a fee and once again generally don't have the equity or the borrowing capacity to capitalise a fee on the loan. There are so many more examples of Australians that would suffer. The thing they all have in common is that they need us to work with them over multiple months, if not years, so that they can have the Australian dream of a home to live in without financial stress, and yet they can't afford our services. To implement Haynes' recommendations, you'll be removing the Australian dream of home ownership for many Australians and would put those Australians already in financial hardship in greater financial pain, as they would not have access to a fee-free service to help get them back on track. As I said earlier, when I started mortgage broking, I had a sole focus of helping my clients and making a positive difference in their lives. What I didn't realise was the big difference I could make for all Australians. You see, in the last 7 years, I've been able to go from being a sole operator to building a business with a team of 20. I've been able to help others like myself leave their corporate jobs and pursue a successful, meaningful career helping other people. More importantly than all of that, each and every mortgage broker in Australia, including all the mortgage brokers in the room today, is every day keeping our big banks honest. We're giving the smaller lenders a voice and a channel and helping to ensure that all Australians, including those who choose to go directly to the bank, benefit from the work we do and the competition we provide. So ultimately, all mortgage brokers in Australia are keeping interest rates down for all Australians. I hope that when the government considers its options regarding the remuneration model for mortgage brokers, the end result is a remuneration model that is just as fair to all parties as the current remuneration model is, and allows all 27,000 Australian mortgage brokers the opportunity to continue making a big difference for all Australian borrowers by keeping competition alive. Thank you. Actually very privileged today to be joined by a couple of clients who are going to share their stories with mortgage brokers, and we thought it was a really nice idea for the senators to be able to hear from our clients as to the impact that we make in their life. These clients have taken time out of work to be here today, and we need to give them a big round of applause for that. We've got Delia Hutchinson and Crystal Woodlock, so let's... I'll pass over to David, and we're going to have a bit of a panel discussion with Delia and Crystal.